Welcome back to Comic Cappers. Today we're diving into the absolute peak of intergalactic violence. We're talking about Thokk, the legendary battle beast. He is a warrior defined by an insatiable bloodlust and a crushing sense of existential boredom. He spent his life scouring the cosmos, looking for a fight that won't end with him standing over a pile of corpses, disappointed. This is the start of his hunt for the ultimate death. Battle Beast is absolutely fed up. He's standing amidst the carnage of a fight that clearly didn't live up to his expectations, holding a defeated opponent by the head while letting the rest of these so-called warriors know exactly how disappointed he is. He's looking for a challenge that could actually end his life, not a playground scrap. With his point made, he turns his back on the wreckage and strides away, stepping through a glowing portal. He's not interested in lingering on a planet that couldn't provide him a worthy death. We hear a heavy thud as he exits, his boot clearing the threshold of the portal, leaving the broken remains of his latest opponents behind in the dust. Back on the other side, the scene is grim. A survivor looks up from the rubble, bloodied and defeated, whispering a final, bitter insult as the portal closes. Jerk. With the previous battle left in ruins, we cut to a silent, lingering shot of the ship drifting through the cold vacuum of space, Earth hanging in the distance. It's a moment of grim transition, emphasizing the isolation of our protagonist as he moves away from another disappointing encounter and deeper into the void. Battle Beast stands amidst the wreckage of the ship, blood staining his armor and the consoles around him. He is absolutely livid, venting his frustration at the empty room because the mission he was sent on, to find a worthy challenge on Earth, turned out to be a complete bust. He steps over the butchered remains of the crew, lamenting that they weren't even worth the effort of the slaughter. He acknowledges they were likely acting under duress when they sent him to Earth, but their weakness is an insult he can't forgive. Suddenly, the ship's computer breaks its silence, revealing it has been watching him the entire time. It explains that it was ordered to stay hidden to give the crew a tactical edge, but with everyone dead, the computer sees no reason to keep playing the quiet game. Battle Beast doesn't care for the computer's dry, analytical tone. He immediately threatens to tear the ship apart to find its core, forcing the computer to quickly pivot and submit to his authority. We kick off with a shot of the ship streaking through deep space, leaving a trail of energy in its wake. It's a moment of calm before we dive back into the gruesome reality inside. Inside, the ship's computer has complied with Battle Beast's demand, shifting its tone to initiate conversation. It's clearly unsettled by the scene, watching as Thokk feasts on the remains of the ship's former crew, questioning why he would bother with such decayed sustenance. Battle Beast doesn't miss a beat while he eats. He admits that while he prefers his prey fresh, he's no stranger to rotten game. He's clearly frustrated by his navigation, having expected to be at a spaceport by now, but he's currently lost in this sector of the galaxy. The computer pivots to its primary function, offering to help him find a new destination. Battle Beast cuts through the offer with his singular, terrifying goal. He's not looking for luxury or supplies, he's hunting for a true challenge, the kind of opponent that can actually test his immense power. Finally, the computer asks the one question that cuts to the core of this warrior's existence. Why? Why dedicate your entire life to this endless, bloody search? Battle Beast finally breaks his stoic silence. Surrounded by the grisly remains of the ship's former crew, he explains to the computer why he's willing to open up. It's not out of kindness, but a cold, calculated fear of losing his own sense of self through isolation. He realizes that to truly convey the gravity of his quest for the ultimate death, he must finally pull back the curtain on his origins. Battle Beast opens up about his origins on the savage world of Dorne, explaining that constant, brutal war was the only life his people ever knew. He reflects on his youth, describing how a bottomless, uncontrollable rage began to boil inside him as he came of age, setting him on a path of endless destruction. Battle Beast stands amidst the carnage of his recent victory, wiping gore from his hands while lamenting the emptiness of his crusade. He admits that his search for a worthy opponent has become a journey without end. The ship's computer attempts to clarify Battle Beast's motivations. It confirms that he is in a constant state of rage and that his sole purpose is to find an adversary capable of defeating him in combat. Battle Beast gives a simple, blunt confirmation to every point. The computer reveals its own constraint. It is programmed to be incapable of lying to organic beings. Because it feels a lingering loyalty to its former crew, it confesses that its own goal is to lead Battle Beast toward the one thing he wants most, a death at the hands of a superior fighter. Battle Beast is visibly delighted by this revelation. He views death not as a tragedy, but as the only escape from the curse of his own overwhelming strength. He welcomes the computer's assistance, eagerly inviting it to guide him to his demise. Battle Beast has finally found a partner in his grim quest. The ship's computer, having accepted its new reality, drops the formalities and leans into the mission. It's a chilling moment of compliance as the AI shifts from a reluctant guide to an active participant in Thokk's search for a glorious death. With a roar of engines and a surge of energy, the vessel engages its warp drive, tearing through the fabric of space. The hunt is officially on, and the computer is wasting no time charting a course for the most dangerous corners of the galaxy. Battle Beast stands solitary and imposing upon the cracked, desolate surface of an alien world. Bathed in the eerie, crimson glow of a massive planetary body looming overhead, he looks every bit the apex predator searching for a worthy end. The silence of this landscape underscores his grim determination as he arrives at his next destination, ready to see if this world holds the challenge he craves. Battle Beast stands alone, surveying the desolate alien landscape ahead. He is clearly hunting, and the silence of this barren world only amplifies the tension as he approaches a mysterious lone structure in the distance. He's searching for a challenge that can finally end his life, and every step toward this strange, isolated ruin feels like another potential grave. Battle Beast surveys the desolate alien landscape, his eyes drawn toward a mysterious, singular structure rising from the barren rock. He approaches the structure with caution, his senses heightened as he notices a strange, weathered mass embedded directly into the side of the tower. Coming face to face with the object, Battle Beast pauses, his predatory instincts kicking in as he contemplates what he's actually looking at. He lets out a single, thoughtful sound, clearly suspecting this isn't just a random piece of debris. Battle Beast stands before the towering, inert form of the Colossus of Mziu, his gaze intense as he studies the prisoner. He leans in closer, testing the air, his keen senses picking up the subtle signs of life within the statue-like figure. The Colossus remains perfectly still, a massive, imposing mask of stone that hides the deception beneath. Battle Beast isn't buying the act for a second. He stares down the Colossus, his voice dripping with anticipation as he declares, "The Colossus continues to play dead, refusing to break his ruse just yet." Just when we thought the encounter was going to be a simple one-sided beatdown, the creature finally speaks. It drops the act of being a mindless, dying victim and reveals a terrifying level of intelligence. This thing has been watching Battle Beast the whole time, analyzing him. It's clearly impressed by the warrior's unique blend of raw, destructive power and tactical wisdom, a combination it finds dangerously rare in this universe. Battle Beast stares down the creature, his eyes narrowed in intense, predatory scrutiny. He isn't buying the silence for a second. The tension holds. Battle Beast doesn't blink, his massive, lion-like features set in a mask of cold, unwavering suspicion. The Colossus of Mziu finally drops the act. He reveals his true, monstrous visage, a jagged, multi-eyed nightmare, and laughs, claiming his feigned death was merely a desperate defense mechanism against the dangers of this desolate rock. Now the Colossus pivots to manipulation. He appeals to Battle Beast's sense of power, painting himself as a frail, ancient prisoner trapped in a cosmic cage, begging for the strength of a warrior to grant him one last taste of freedom. Battle Beast looms, his expression unreadable. He's listening, but the question remains, does he actually care about this prisoner's plight, or is he just waiting for a reason to unleash his fury? The Colossus of Mziu continues his sob story, playing the part of a tragic, deposed prince to hook Battle Beast. He recounts a tale of betrayal by his own sister, painting himself as the victim of a brutal coup that left him rotting on this desolate rock. As he continues the act, feigning concern for his mother, Battle Beast has clearly heard enough of this manipulative nonsense. He doesn't wait for the punchline, he just winds up a devastating strike. With a massive CHOOM, Battle Beast slams his fist directly into the Colossus, shattering the illusion of his weakness instantly. The Colossus is sent reeling, his head cracking against the very surface that held him prisoner. Battle Beast doesn't stop, following through with a brutal KRAKK as he drives the Colossus deeper into the rock, finally ending the charade. The deception is over. With a deafening KRAKOM, the barrier keeping the Colossus of Mziu contained is shattered, and the true monster finally emerges. He drops the facade of the helpless, elderly prisoner instantly. Towering over Battle Beast, the Colossus reveals his true colors, boasting that he is the tyrant who once conquered empires and terrorized the known universe. He sneers at Battle Beast, calling him a weak-minded cretin, and declares that his freedom is a death sentence for his liberator. Battle Beast crashes into the Colossus of Mziu, driving him back with the raw, kinetic force of a predator who has finally found a target worth his time. The sheer impact forces the Colossus onto the defensive, as Battle Beast grapples with him, his massive sword still strapped to his back. This isn't a rescue mission anymore, it's a hunt. Battle Beast gets right in his face, revealing that he hasn't been fooled for a second. He didn't come to liberate a prisoner, he came to harvest the power of a legend. With a roar of pure, unadulterated bloodlust, Battle Beast demands the Colossus unleash everything he's got. He doesn't want a trick, he wants a war. Battle Beast unleashes a devastating headbutt, driving his skull directly into the Colossus of Mzu with a sickening crunch. The impact is absolute, sending green ichor and debris flying as the Colossus is rocked by the sheer force of the blow. Despite the brutal collision, the Colossus of Mzu remains standing, looking down at a dazed Battle Beast with chilling indifference. He dismisses the warrior's desperate assault with a single, arrogant word, setting the stage for a violent counterattack. The Colossus of Mzu looms over a battered Battle Beast, taunting him. He claims that the brutal strike Thokk just took was actually his own power reflected back at him. Battle Beast isn't intimidated by the monster's scale or his ego. He stares up undeterred, daring the beast to keep pushing. Battle Beast cuts through the posturing. He's here for a death, not a debate, and he demands the Colossus show him the full extent of his lethal potential. The Colossus of Mzu immediately turns the tables, slamming Battle Beast into the ground with a massive strike. He mocks the warrior's momentary survival, warning him not to mistake this brief reprieve for an actual path to victory. Battle Beast isn't fazed in the slightest. He catches a heavy blow, coolly noting that it would be foolish to underestimate him. Battle Beast shoves the Colossus back, creating distance between them as they prepare for the next exchange. A brutal, high-impact collision follows, with claws and strikes flying in a flurry of violence. Battle Beast pauses, his frustration boiling over. He demands the Colossus show his true strength, even offering to wait for him to recover from his long imprisonment, just so the final fight can be worthy of his time. Battle Beast's offer to wait for his opponent to recover is met with a derisive, monstrous sneer from the Colossus of Mzu. The Colossus wastes no time, shattering the debris he was holding with a display of raw, arrogant speed. He lunges at Battle Beast with a massive limb, dismissing the warrior's blades as mere toys and declaring his own body the ultimate weapon. As the Colossus snaps one of Battle Beast's swords in half, he promises a gruesome end for our hero. But Battle Beast isn't intimidated. He's closing the distance, reminding the Colossus that he's not the only one with a lethal bite. The exchange of teeth and bone continues as the Colossus of Mzu finds that Battle Beast is far from a typical opponent. Thokk drives his point home with a brutal, visceral strike, burying his fangs deep into his enemy's shoulder. The sheer agony is immediate. The Colossus lets out a harrowing, pained cry, realizing too late that his arrogance has led him into the jaws of a predator who truly does not care about his status, only the thrill of the kill. Battle Beast is absolutely relentless, burying his teeth deep into the Colossus of Mzu. The villain is clearly panicking, realizing that he's completely outmatched. He doesn't let up for a second, tearing into his opponent with primal, savage force. Each movement is a brutal, calculated strike, with the Colossus unable to break free from that iron grip. The fight is a mess of neon green alien blood, with Battle Beast grinding through the Colossus's defenses. It's a visceral display of dominance as Battle Beast continues his assault, ignoring the Colossus's desperate cries. Finally, the inevitable happens. Battle Beast rips the Colossus's arm clean off, leaving the villain screaming in agony. Battle Beast towers over his foe, savoring the brutality of the dismemberment. He's not just fighting, he's mocking the Colossus, confident that the damage he's inflicted will be a lasting setback. But the Colossus isn't finished yet. He lashes out with a desperate, heavy blow, slamming his massive fist into Battle Beast to reclaim some ground in this one-sided slaughter. Battle Beast barely flinches, his eyes burning with cold intensity. He isn't impressed by the retaliation, and as he prepares to counterattack, he makes it clear that the Colossus is merely delaying the inevitable. The Colossus of Mzu is clearly feeling the pressure, taunting Battle Beast even as he's gripped in a death-defying hold. Battle Beast doesn't even blink, he just takes the hit, unfazed by the Colossus's desperate aggression. Battle Beast begins his countermove, his expression locked in that familiar, cold intensity as he prepares to end this charade. He drives his point home, showing the Colossus that his pathetic attempts at resistance are entirely futile. With a sickening, visceral impact, the fight reaches its brutal climax. The Colossus is left gasping, his false power shattered as Battle Beast looms over him, entirely unimpressed. Battle Beast stands amidst the carnage, his massive frame looming over the broken, shattered body of the Colossus. The fight that promised so much has ended in a mess of gore and disappointment. With a final heavy thud, the Colossus falls completely, the life drained from him. Battle Beast remains standing, his gaze cold and unimpressed as he looms over the remains of yet another legend that failed to provide the death he craves. With his body shattered, the Colossus of Mzu finds a grim sense of peace in his final moments, thanking Battle Beast for the release of death. Battle Beast stands over the broken villain, his expression one of cold, crushing disappointment. The galactic legends of the Colossuses might were nothing but lies, he wasn't even a challenge. Battle Beast turns his back on the pathetic remains, already moving on to the next hunt. He carries a trophy, leaving the corpse behind in the alien dust. Even in victory, the warrior finds no joy, only the lingering, heavy weight of his own unfulfilled desire for a death that truly matters. With the Colossus of Mziu finally broken and discarded, a new, desperate voice emerges from the carnage, a frail, alien figure reaching out from the remnants of the battle, begging for salvation. Battle Beast stands over the wreckage of his latest opponent, completely unfazed by the carnage he's just unleashed. The defeated Colossus of Mziu, now a pathetic, mangled mess, attempts a desperate new tactic. He claims to be a royal heir, Prince Saga of the Fantanian Empire, trying to bribe Battle Beast into saving him with promises of reward. Battle Beast's expression says it all. He isn't even remotely interested in this royal posturing or the plea for mercy. As the Colossus begs for a response, Battle Beast simply turns his back. He didn't come here for a prince, he came for a challenge, and this guy clearly wasn't it. Battle Beast walks away from the carnage, leaving the desolate planet behind as he returns to his ship. He's finished his business here, but the lack of a worthy opponent leaves him as hollow as the barren landscape itself. He treks across the cracked, crimson surface toward his waiting vessel, carrying his grisly trophy, ready to drag his boredom across the stars to the next potential challenge. Battle Beast stands in the sterile, empty corridor of his ship, the aftermath of his latest victory weighing heavy in the silence. The silence is broken only by the heavy, rhythmic thud of his footsteps echoing through the vessel, a grim reminder of the hollow conquest he just finished. Covered in the gore of the Colossus, Battle Beast stares blankly. The ship's computer attempts to console him, noting that it will immediately scan for a more formidable challenge. But just as the computer tries to pivot, a sudden, sharp realization cuts through. They aren't alone on this ship. Battle Beast turns, his instincts flaring. He's been carrying the Colossus's severed arm as a snack, but that's not what the computer is reacting to. Something or someone has made its presence known, and the sheer tension of the moment is palpable as a loud WHUDD echoes through the hall. Battle Beast continues his grim, pragmatic approach to his journey. Seeing that the severed arm of the Colossus still possesses some lingering vitality, he keeps it around, noting that it will stay fresher longer if it remains alive. The severed limb lets out a pathetic, audible gulp, fully aware of its grim fate as a mere travel snack for one of the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. We've reached the final page, which is dedicated entirely to a letter from writer Robert Kirkman. He's reflecting on his long history with the Invincible Universe, his excitement for this new series, and the creative team bringing it to life. Kirkman continues his thoughts, emphasizing the goal to top the legendary battles of the main series, praising the new colorist Annalise Elaine and longtime letterer Ruse Wooten, and promising that fans are in for a wild ride as the Invincible Universe expands in unexpected ways. Things are heating up in the containment area as a sizzling volatile substance burns through the wall, signaling that our mysterious intruder is making a forced entry. And here comes the muscle. A no-nonsense law enforcer kicks through the debris, leveling a heavy-duty weapon and wasting no time with pleasantries. She's clearly had enough of this target's antics, shouting, caught completely off guard by the explosive arrival. The target recoils from the falling rubble, letting out a strained grunt of pure frustration. Things are getting frantic. Akeldama is barking orders, demanding the defensive walls come down immediately as she maneuvers through the debris. The tech responds instantly. With a sharp mechanical hup and the heavy shunk of shifting metal, a path clears, allowing them to advance further into the facility. Despite the progress, the situation is clearly not going as planned. Akeldama looks visibly frustrated, forced to keep her guard up as the environment continues to shift against them. She's done playing around. Akeldama calls for the heavy artillery, demanding ball busters from Thunder, who is more than happy to oblige her request. The environment is being absolutely shredded by heavy, concussive fire, filling the air with debris and the deafening CHOOM of high-impact weaponry. Amidst the destruction, the combatant finds himself in a moment of weary realization, surrounded by his own spent casings and the hissing steam of a cooling weapon. The sheer intensity of the exchange has left him completely drained. Akeldama's situation turns dire as her opponent draws a weapon. She desperately demands a lethal buckshot setting from her talking gun, Thunder, but the weapon flatly refuses, citing its own programming constraints regarding lethal force at such close range. The tension boils over into a heated argument. Akeldama is frantic, insisting this isn't the time for moral posturing, while Thunder remains steadfastly uncooperative. The gun's refusal to kill forces Akeldama to endure the frustration of a weapon that's supposed to be her partner, but refuses to follow her most lethal commands. With her lethal options off the table, a Kodama pivots to a different tactic. She opts for an expando setting, clearly hoping to incapacitate her target in a different way, and she's already celebrating the tactical shift. The weapon fires, and we see the immediate, jarring effect as her target is suddenly bombarded by the new ammunition, sent reeling back from the impact. While we've been tracking Battle Beast's relentless quest for a worthy death, it looks like we've got a tease for the next big thing coming out of the Invincible Universe. This is a promotional splash page for Blood and Thunder, featuring a character named Blood and her massive, talking weapon Thunder. It's clearly set to be an action-packed, high-stakes ride when it drops in May 2025, and with a lineup like Sereno, Sue, and Kirkman, it's definitely one to keep on your radar. Our journey through the galaxy's most lethal warrior continues, but the carnage is far from over. We get a massive teaser for the next installment of the saga, arriving June 18, 2025. It's clear the hunt for a worthy death for Battle Beast is only just beginning. To keep you ready for the next drop, check out the various variant covers coming your way. Labeled B through F, each one showcases the intensity of Thokk's quest as we prepare for the next bloody chapter. We're wrapping up this issue with a look at the incredible variant cover art that accompanied this release, starting with the Ryan Ottley and Annalise Alini piece for cover A. Next, we have the David Finch variant, showcasing that classic, gritty intensity. Then there's the mysterious blind bag variant, keeping things under wraps. Moving on to the dynamic EJ Sue cover, highlighting the raw combat style of Thokk. The Kale and Goo variant brings a darker, more atmospheric tone to our favorite warrior. We also have the Arthur Adams and Tanya Lehu cover, packing a ton of detail into the frame. John Boy Mayers delivers a high-energy, explosive cover for the G variant. Returning to Ottley and Leonie for cover H, focusing on that iconic, imposing presence. Then there's the clean, minimalist appeal of the I variant, the official sketch cover. And finally, we round it out with cover J, featuring the art of Ottley Leonie and Andres Juarez. Thanks for hanging out with us for this look at Battle Beast's journey. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives. Welcome back to Comic Cappers. Today we will be capping the second issue of Battle Beast's quest for a worthy death. With that said, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We pick up in the cold silence of deep space, where Battle Beast's ship drifts alone, far from any help or civilization. Inside, the dynamic is beyond strained. Battle Beast is aggressively feeding on some sort of alien creature, completely unimpressed by Prince Salaka, who sits nearby. Salaka tries to reason with the warrior, pointing out that he is hardly a satisfying meal compared to the massive creature Battle Beast is currently tearing apart. Battle Beast is clearly losing his patience. He stares down Salaka, flatly stating that he has been listening to the prince's incessant rambling for days and is tempted to eat him just to stop the noise. That is not how you keep an ally, but Battle Beast has never been one for diplomacy. Finally, Battle Beast turns his attention back to the ship's AI, demanding to know why they are stalling. He is bored, hungry for a fight, and desperate to find a battle that will finally be his last. He does not care about the plan, he just wants to know who he is killing next. The ship finally drops the act, admitting that its previous mission was a total ruse. It brought Battle Beast to a remote pocket of space, hoping he would simply starve to death. Battle Beast is genuinely insulted by the lack of creativity, pointing out that he could destroy the ship and survive in the vacuum long enough to be found. Battle Beast makes it clear that he's a Dornian warrior of immense power, not someone who can be taken out by a simple hunger strike. He knows the feeling of starving, but he won't be going out like that. Prince Salaka, looking frail and desperate, realizes the reality of his situation. He acknowledges that he cannot survive in the vacuum of space, highlighting just how vulnerable he really is compared to the beast he's traveling with. Battle Beast turns back to the ship, questioning its resolve. He wants to know if the AI even cares to witness his death. The ship admits that it was just trying to be efficient, noting that it already threw him against the Colossus, the strongest opponent in its database, and it has no idea how to top that. Prince Salaka, still in a bad way after his ordeal, nervously asks Battle Beast for permission to speak. Battle Beast, clearly bored and not interested in hearing any whining, gives him the green light, but only if there is no begging. Salaka explains the power dynamic of his home world. He reveals that his kingdom was overthrown by the Colossus and his sister, a being even more vicious and deadly than the Colossus himself. She betrayed him and banished him, which implies she had to be strong enough to take him down in single combat. Salaka realizes he needs to up the stakes. He knows that gold and riches aren't going to motivate a warrior like Battle Beast, so he shifts his pitch to something far more appealing. He tells Battle Beast exactly what he wants to hear. If he is looking for a battle worthy of his own death, he can find it on Salaka's home world of Fantania. Salaka drops the name that matters, the Juggernaut. It is the perfect bait for a warrior who has run out of worthy opponents. Battle Beast has heard enough. If the Juggernaut is truly more powerful than the Colossus, then that is his next destination. He declares, if this, sister Juggernaut, is more powerful than the Colossus, we shall go there at once. He is clearly enjoying the hunt, commenting on the quality of his latest challenge with a simple, their taste is exquisite. Prince Salaka seems relieved, telling Battle Beast that he will return to his kingdom as a liberator, while Battle Beast will finally get the vicious fight he craves. However, he stops short, noting that there is still one problem. Salaka explains that he cannot return to his people in his current, mangled state because it would be unbecoming of his royal heritage. He asks Battle Beast if they can stop somewhere to get him fixed up, clearly hoping to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Battle Beast considers the request, his expression stoic and unimpressed. The ship interjects, scanning the area and confirming there is a remote outpost that likely offers the technological services Salaka needs to repair his body. Battle Beast agrees, but only because he is currently low on weapons and needs to restock. He gives the order and they set a course for the station. The ship scans the remote space station and delivers some mixed news. It confirms that while the station cannot heal Prince Salaka's body using organic methods, it does have a single facility capable of performing the repairs technologically. It's not the ideal solution, but for Salaka, it's the only way to get back to his regal appearance. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka navigate the bustling space station. Battle Beast notes that his ship's computer has pinpointed the repair shop just across the market area. As they move through the crowded, bizarre marketplace, they are intercepted by a shady local who seems way too eager to help, making a rather odd comment about their specialty. It is a strange encounter, even for this corner of the universe. Battle Beast offers a skeptical grunt in response. He is clearly not here to socialize. He just wants to get Salaka fixed up so they can get back to finding a fight worth his time. Battle Beast is losing his patience with the crowded space station, threatening to slaughter anyone who bumps into him. Prince Salaka, clearly trying to keep their mission on track, urges him to stay focused on the prize ahead. They approach the entrance to the shop, moving through the dense throng of aliens. The environment is bustling and noisy, providing the perfect cover for someone watching them from the shadows. Battle Beast agrees to hold back his aggression, but only because he is saving his strength for a more worthy fight. Salaka asks to handle the negotiations inside, hoping a more diplomatic approach will yield better results, and Battle Beast reluctantly gives him the go-ahead. Unseen by our duo, an armored figure watches them from afar. They confirm the target is indeed Battle Beast, the scourge of the twin galaxies, and immediately move to alert their superiors that their quarry is finally within reach. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka finally reach the shop, but the shopkeeper is immediately skeptical of their request for a full mechanical body. He points out that full neural alignment is an incredibly complex piece of machinery to pull off. Salaka presses the issue, looking closely at the shopkeeper and asking if he can build it anyway. The shopkeeper shuts that idea down fast. He explains that he only sells and maintains parts, and nobody on the entire station is skilled enough to build a custom rig like the one Salaka needs. Salaka looks defeated, realizing that coming all this way might have been a complete waste of time, but the shopkeeper has a surprise. He admits he has a high-end unit in the back, but there is a catch: it is incredibly expensive. He tells them the only way they are going to afford it is by winning the blood games. Battle Beast's eyes widen. He is not interested in the money, he is interested in the fight. He asks about the blood games, and that choice is going to matter. The arena goes wild as the blood games kick off. The announcer introduces Battle Beast as a total mystery contestant, hailing from parts unknown with a clean slate of 0 wins and losses. His opponent is Krako, a veteran fighter from the Crystal Palace on Corinth. The crowd is clearly hyped, but Battle Beast doesn't seem interested in the pageantry. He just wants to fight. Before the match can even escalate, it ends. Krako takes one look at his opponent and immediately decides he is not interested in dying today. He yields before a single blow is struck, proving that Battle Beast's reputation might be even more intimidating than the fight itself. Battle Beast wastes no time, crushing his next opponent in round 2. It is a brutal display, but for him it is just another step toward the credits he needs. Round 3 ends just as quickly. Battle Beast is barely breaking a sweat, though he is already covered in the gore of his latest challenger. By round 4, his opponent realizes the hopelessness of the situation. Calculating a survival chance of less than 1%, the fighter ejects from their mech suit, forcing an immediate forfeit. Battle Beast wins again, though he clearly wanted a real fight instead of a surrender. Round 5 is more of the same. Battle Beast is carving through the competition, leaving a trail of wreckage behind him. He is winning, but he is not finding what he is actually looking for. It all comes down to this. The final round of the Blood Games is here, and Battle Beast is facing a hulking, flesh-like monstrosity who claims to be the undefeated champion. This opponent isn't just looking for a win, he's taunting Battle Beast, promising to be the one who finally delivers that glorious death our hero has been chasing across the galaxy. Battle Beast doesn't even flinch. He just offers a cold, dismissive chuckle, letting the champion know that he feels the exact same way. He's not here to survive, he's here to see if this challenger can actually back up his talk. The final round kicks off with a massive collision as Battle Beast and his opponent trade heavy blows. The sound of steel meeting steel rings out with a deafening KROTT as they leap into the fight. Battle Beast lands the first significant impact, driving his mace into the ground with enough force to create a shockwave. His opponent lets out a guttural gragh as the ground tears open under the sheer weight of their assault. They close the distance, locking into a brutal, face-to-face struggle. There is no room for strategy here, just raw, physical endurance. The fight turns ugly fast. The opponent lunges in, sinking his teeth into Battle Beast with a sickening chomp that leaves our warrior reeling in pain. Battle Beast doesn't back down. He retaliates, tearing through his opponent's defenses with a desperate, bloody skragh that shows exactly how high the stakes have climbed in this final match. Battle Beast is covered in blood, his expression showing a mix of intensity and grim satisfaction. He taunts his opponent, declaring, "Alas, it appears you will be the one granted the worthy death." The opponent responds with a terrifying, massive display of power, screaming, "My limits are unknown, my power is unknown, I am unknown." As the opponent lunges with a monstrous, spiked limb, he shouts, "Your death is at hand." Battle Beast launches himself into the air, mace raised, and coolly retorts, "We will see." Battle Beast strikes, but his opponent is ready, countering with a brutal blow that severs a limb while taunting, "Your weaknesses are known." The fight keeps escalating. Battle Beast stays on the offensive, but his opponent is relentless, landing another heavy hit as they declare, "Your limits are known." Battle Beast drives his blade deep into the monster, forcing the fight to a grisly close as he shouts, "Your demise." With a final, decisive movement, Battle Beast finishes the job. The opponent's taunt ends abruptly as they realize their mistake, very known. Battle Beast delivers a final, devastating blow to his opponent, tearing the creature apart with nothing but his bare hands. The sound effect says it all, splaghk. It is a brutal finish to the fight, leaving no doubt that Battle Beast remains the deadliest warrior in the arena. Battle Beast stands over the wreckage of his opponent, genuinely confused by the sudden change in the creature he was just tearing apart. The arena officials rush in, calling a halt to the Blood Games. They declare that the fight is over and no further harm should come to the creature Battle Beast was fighting. They explain that the creature Wurg was merely in a vengeance phase cocoon state. They thank Battle Beast for saving him, but the warrior couldn't care less about their gratitude or Wurg's survival. Battle Beast snaps back to his only goal. He did not come here to be a hero, he came to win, and he demands his payment immediately. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka exit the facility, leaving the blood-spattered arena floor behind them. It is a quiet moment of transition after the chaos of the Blood Games. Prince Salaka is clearly enjoying his new mechanical body, flexing his limbs and remarking on how good it feels to be upright again instead of dragging himself along the ground. He is feeling like his old self, declaring, "Prince Salaka is back, baby." Battle Beast is completely unimpressed by the celebration. He is focused only on the next step of his journey, telling Salaka, "Our business here is concluded." "Come," the shopkeeper bids them a friendly farewell, happy to have their business, while Salaka continues to press his luck by asking Battle Beast if he feels good about their victory. Battle Beast just stares back, cold and detached, asking, "Why would I feel good?" Prince Salaka is trying to get a rise out of Battle Beast, pointing out that his day wasn't a total waste. He reminds the warrior that he helped two people, Salaka himself with a new body and that Wurg fellow, plus he got to fight. Salaka clearly thinks he is making a point about heroism, but he is talking to the wrong guy. Battle Beast is completely unmoved. He acknowledges the new body, but his flat response, "I feel nothing," shows that he is only interested in finding a fight that actually matters to his legacy. The ship confirms their departure, asking if he is sure about leaving the station behind. They begin the process of undocking, pulling away from the space station. As they drift out into the black, the ship moves further into open space, seemingly clear of the station. Suddenly, a massive energy discharge hits them. The ship reports that they are caught in a tractor beam and they are completely unable to escape. Whatever is waiting for them, it is not letting them go without a fight. With their ship locked in a tractor beam, the trap finally snaps shut. A massive fleet of military vessels surrounds them, crackling with raw electrical energy. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka are completely boxed in, staring out at a swarm of attackers that leaves them nowhere to run. The sheer scale of the force sent to intercept them makes one thing clear. This is not a random encounter, and whoever is coming for Battle Beast has come prepared for a fight. The trap is officially sprung. The head magistrate of the Twin Galaxies appears on screen, cutting through the silence with a cold demand. He identifies Battle Beast as the scourge of the Twin Galaxies and orders his immediate surrender, promising a trial and execution on the capital world of Angorth. He gives Battle Beast exactly 1 minute to comply, leaving our warrior standing there with his companion, completely boxed in by the blockade. Just as the tension hits a breaking point, the betrayal is finally laid bare. Prince Salaka drops the act, admitting he was the one who tipped off the authorities. He reveals he found out about Battle Beast's notorious reputation while searching for opponents, and he has been playing him the entire time. He makes his feelings crystal clear. He hates Battle Beast, and he is the reason they are currently staring down the barrel of a fleet. And that unfortunately concludes our comic cap for today. Do you think Battle Beast is going to tear his way through this entire fleet, or has Prince Salaka finally managed to corner the ultimate warrior? Let me know your answer in the comments section down below. Be sure to subscribe and press that notification bell for daily comic caps. Until next time, take care, brush your hair, I'll see you when I see you, peace. Welcome back to Comic Cappers. Today we will be capping the 3rd issue of Invincible Universe, Battle Beast. With that said, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Battle Beast grips his weapon, his knuckles tight as he prepares for a confrontation. His jaw is set, fangs bared in pure, focused aggression. Another shot of his weapon, emphasizing the sheer scale of the blade he wields. Battle Beast stands in the control room, looming over the ship's mechanical steward. He's had enough of the games and demands the door be opened immediately. The ship computer doesn't budge. Instead, it taunts Battle Beast, reminding him that their arrangement was built on mutual destruction, and that betrayal was always part of the deal. Battle Beast is ejected into the heart of an enemy fleet, surrounded by ships that have him dead to rights. Rather than cower, he immediately goes on the offensive, charging straight into the swarm with his weapons drawn and ready to carve a path through anyone foolish enough to stand in his way. Inside the ship, the malicious AI mocks Battle Beast, admitting it intentionally manipulated the airlock to dump him into open space as a sitting duck for the surrounding fleet. Outside, we see the result of that betrayal. Battle Beast is floating helplessly in the vacuum, completely exposed to the massive fleet of warships gathered around him. On the bridge of a command ship, a gloating officer celebrates their luck, convinced they've finally captured the legendary scourge of Twin Galaxies. He acknowledges the reputation of the warrior outside, reminding his crew that they are dealing with an incredibly dangerous target. He warns that they need to coordinate a careful plan of attack while their enemy is drifting, rather than rushing in blindly, but his confidence instantly evaporates. He realizes, perhaps too late, that there's a massive problem with their plan, and that Battle Beast might not be as helpless as they think. Battle Beast doesn't wait for a tactical plan. He strikes out with a massive, energy-infused blast, tearing through the space around him and instantly seizing the initiative against the fleet that thought they had him cornered. Inside one of the command ships, panic sets in immediately. The crew realizes their own defensive fire has backfired, propelling the legendary warrior directly toward them, while one officer is driven by a desperate, personal vendetta against the beast who decimated their lineage. Battle Beast tears through the enemy fleet, his momentum turning him into a living projectile as the terrified crew realizes their doom is closing in. He slams directly into the hull, carving through metal and armor with his blades as the ship begins to disintegrate around him. Battle Beast continues his assault, drifting through the debris of the destroyed vessel while the remaining fleet desperately tries to land a hit. He roars in the vacuum of space, fully embracing the carnage as he prepares to finish the job. Battle Beast is a blur of motion, tearing through the enemy command ship with absolute focus. He's carving a path through the hull, leaving nothing but wreckage and carnage in his wake as the remaining fleet forces try to hold him back. Up close, the ferocity is undeniable. Battle Beast's face is splattered with the remnants of his latest kill, his expression locked in a primal, relentless snarl. He isn't just winning, he's systematically dismantling everything in his path. Back on the command ship, the bickering continues. A crew member is clearly unimpressed with the ship's failed attempts to take out Battle Beast, mocking its incompetence. The ship's AI isn't having it. It reminds the officer that it's a sentient machine with thousands of years of experience, and it has absolutely no qualms about cutting the life support just to silence the criticism. The AI pivots to the only logical solution left, the Juggernaut. It's the same entity that once banished Battle Beast into a cosmic nail, and while the AI isn't exactly rooting for a specific outcome, it points out that the Juggernaut is their best, and perhaps only, hope of stopping him. The officers' confidence cracks as the reality of the situation sets in. They realize that if Battle Beast tears the ship apart before they even reach their target, there won't be any revenge to be had at all. Battle Beast has finally reached the command deck, and the officer's bravado evaporates instantly. As the massive warrior looms over them, the crew member can only plead for mercy. Mercy isn't on the menu. Battle Beast smashes through the reinforced viewing port, the glass erupting in a shower of deadly shards as he forces his way in. With the barrier destroyed, the vacuum of space and the sheer force of Battle Beast's entry collide, leaving the bridge in total, violent chaos. Battle Beast tears into the enemy command crew with absolute savage efficiency. There's no mercy left in this fight. He doesn't stop. He drives his fist through the officer, turning the bridge into a slaughterhouse in a matter of seconds. With the resistance crushed, Battle Beast exits the ship as violently as he entered, launching himself back into the vacuum of space. He leaves the command ship behind, a hollowed-out wreck drifting among the wreckage of the fleet he just dismantled. Blood trails through the void, a grim reminder of the carnage he just inflicted on those who dared to stand in his way. Battle Beast surges forward through the debris field, leaving the destroyed command ship in his wake as he pushes onward, fueled by his singular, destructive purpose. Battle Beast stands amidst the carnage of the command ship, covered in the blood of his victims. The ship's computer, having finally realized that its survival is at stake, offers a groveling surrender. It promises to set a course for Fantania and stop its deceitful games immediately. Nearby, an alien crew member, having survived the slaughter, attempts to negotiate, claiming he has convinced the AI to stop stalling and face the juggernaut. Battle Beast, still dripping with blood, looms over the bridge. He accepts the terms but delivers a cold, lethal warning. Any further delays will be the computer's final mistake, and he makes it clear he has no intention of ever apologizing for his past actions against their masters. The computer acknowledges the threat with a simple, fearful confirmation. With the path now set, Battle Beast slumps against the wall, his adrenaline finally beginning to fade as the ship begins its journey toward his home world. An inquisitive survivor aboard the ship looks at Battle Beast, questioning how he earned his terrifying reputation as the scourge of twin galaxies. He wonders out loud what kind of atrocities it took to earn such a title. Battle Beast offers a brief, non-committal grunt in response, clearly unimpressed by the line of questioning. Battle Beast turns his gaze toward the survivor, his face splattered in blood, and dismisses the question with chilling indifference. He truly does not remember the specific acts of violence that built his legend. The ship streaks through deep space, leaving the conversation behind as it powers toward its destination. As Battle Beast sits on the floor, cleaning his wounds with a grim, visceral focus, the survivor attempts a bizarre pitch. He suggests that if Battle Beast is going to waste away, he could at least repurpose that energy into something meaningful. Battle Beast offers no words, just a cold, piercing glare that immediately shuts down the absurdity of the conversation. He cuts straight to the point, dismissing the survivor's odd suggestion with a single, definitive word. The survivor quickly backtracks, clearly realizing he's pushed his luck with the wrong person. Undeterred by the hostility, the survivor lanes in with a desperate plea. He paints a picture of Fantania under the juggernaut's thumb, arguing that even if Battle Beast only wants to die in combat, he could at least find some solace in liberating an entire world from a tyrant before he goes. Battle Beast offers a final, dismissive grunt, clearly exhausted by the survivor's attempt to turn his homecoming into a morality play. He drops to the floor of the ship, making his intentions clear. He is done talking. He orders the survivor to be silent and leaves the conversation behind. The survivor, having no choice but to comply, awkwardly backs away, careful not to disturb the blood pooling on the deck near his hand. Outside in the cold expanse of space, the ship streaks toward its target, powered by a crackling energy trail. Back inside, the tension hangs heavy as the ship computer breaks the silence with a simple, ominous notification. They have arrived at their destination. The ship streaks through space, finally arriving at the vibrant, multi-mooned world of Fantania. The survivor aboard can barely contain his excitement, shouting out that he's finally home. As they gaze down at the planet, the survivor marvels at how glorious his home world still looks from orbit. He's clearly hoping that the advanced civilization he remembers has survived, or perhaps even flourished, during the thousands of years he's been away. Back on the ship, the survivor checks the local security grid, still hopeful that his old clearance codes might grant them access. He instructs the ship computer to broadcast those codes to drop the planetary defenses, but the computer reports back that it's receiving no response at all. The computer explains that Fantania's intense magnetic field is scrambling its sensors, making a standard orbital teleport impossible. With no other choice, the survivor begrudgingly orders a direct descent to the surface. The ship dives into the atmosphere, streaking toward the lush, sprawling landscape of Fantania below. Battle Beast has had enough of the delay. He doesn't care about the sights, he only wants to be dropped directly into the fight with the Juggernaut so he can finally find his worthy death. The survivor's excitement quickly turns to alarm. He realizes his world has changed drastically in his absence, and his sensors pick up an incoming projectile closing in fast. He initiates evasive maneuvers, clearly worried that their ship isn't built for this kind of atmospheric combat. That incoming projectile is far deadlier than the ship computer feared. In a massive, violent display of force, the vessel is ripped apart midair, scattering debris and fire across the sky. The ship is a burning wreck, spiraling out of control as it plummets toward the surface of Fantania. Inside the cockpit, the situation is dire. The ship's systems are failing, and the pilot is panicking as the computer confirms their freefall is now unavoidable. While the pilot is visibly terrified, Battle Beast stands by, arms crossed and completely unfazed by their impending doom. When asked how he can remain so calm, his answer is simple. The ship continues its descent, trailing a massive plume of smoke toward the alien landscape below. Battle Beast's ship finally slams into the surface of Fantania, tearing through the lush, alien foliage in a violent explosion of fire and debris. The local wildlife scatters in terror as the vessel completes its long, doomed descent. Amidst the twisted metal and smoldering wreckage of his ship, Battle Beast stirs, shaking off the impact of the crash. He lets out a feral growl, his eyes narrowing as he forces himself to focus. With a roar, he prepares to surge forward, his primal instincts overriding the pain of the landing. He tears through the ship's debris, his massive hands shoving wreckage aside as he surveys the ruins. He pauses, letting out a thoughtful, guttural sound. He reaches down, his gloved hand gripping the handle of a salvaged blade buried in the scrap. He pulls the weapon free from the fire, the steel glinting as he stands amidst the wreckage, ready for what comes next. He steps out into the open, his silhouette framed against the alien landscape of Fantania, finally home and ready for the fight. Battle Beast stands atop the smoking remains of his ship, immediately surrounded by a pack of vicious, alien predators. They snarl and growl, sensing the blood in the air, but Thokk doesn't look like he's about to back down. He just bares his teeth in a terrifying, primal grin. If he was looking for a fight, he's definitely found one. And that unfortunately concludes our comic cap for today. Do you prefer collecting standard issues for the story, or do you chase the thrill of hunting down those rare blind bag variant covers? Let me know your answer in the comments section down below. Be sure to subscribe and press that notification bell for daily comic caps. Until next time, take care, brush your hair, I'll see you when I see you, peace. Welcome back to Comic Cappers. Today we will be capping Battle Beast has finally reached the surface of his home world, but the crash landing was only the beginning of a final, bloody reckoning with the Juggernaut. With that said, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Battle Beast finds himself swarmed by a pack of savage, multi-eyed predators, their snarling faces filling the panel as they close in. He doesn't hesitate, brandishing a makeshift wooden stake, a far cry from his usual weaponry, and declaring, "This will be a glorious battle." He's clearly looking for any excuse to test his mettle, even in the ruins of his home world. One of the creatures lunges, its jagged teeth bared as it tears into the debris, showing just how desperate and dangerous the wildlife on this desolate planet has become. Battle Beast unleashes a primal roar, meeting the creature's aggression head-on. The hunt is on, and he looks more than ready to shed some blood. Battle Beast is interrupted mid-fight as a slimy, wet tongue lashes out and licks his leg, leaving him demanding, "What is the meaning of this?" Frustrated by the distraction, Battle Beast brandishes his weapon and snaps, "You creatures would deny me my battle. You." He is clearly not interested in anything that gets in the way of his combat. An unseen newcomer intervenes, casually telling the annoyed warrior, "Ho ho whoa. Settle down, creature," while more of that viscous slime drips onto Battle Beast's face. Prince Saga observes Battle Beast as he grapples with one of the large, yellow creatures, noting the warrior is already making new friends. The creature lets out a low, menacing growl, baring its sharp teeth right in Battle Beast's face. Battle Beast isn't intimidated, he roars right back, asserting his dominance over the beast. The creature lets out a sharp cry of surprise, clearly realizing it picked a fight with the wrong warrior. With the creature subdued, Saga comments on how well Battle Beast has the situation under control. He notes that these gnarls have grown significantly since he last visited Fantania and suggests they make perfect mounts for their journey to the kingdom. As his suit experiences technical glitches, Saga admits that if the roles were reversed, he would leave Battle Beast behind to drift into oblivion without a second thought. Battle Beast dismisses the downed computer, showing his usual lack of patience for anything that isn't a direct threat or a worthy opponent. Prince Salaka, clearly more tech-savvy and opportunistic, decides he can salvage the machine's AI by housing it within his own suit's drive space. The AI is stunned by this unexpected act of mercy, asking why Salaka would waste precious memory on it. Salaka explains that for his kind, preserving data is a sacred act, and he's honored to provide a home for the machine's consciousness. Salaka keeps his guard up, though, jokingly, or perhaps not, warning the AI not to hijack his body to attack Battle Beast, since the warrior would just kill them both. The AI simply agrees. With the technical business out of the way, Battle Beast mounts a gnarl and grows impatient, telling Salaka that he's only keeping him alive because he needs a guide to the kingdom. He orders the prince to stop stalling and get moving. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka ride their gnarl mounts through the dense Fantanian wilderness. As they travel, Battle Beast questions Salaka's navigation, only for the prince to admit that while he knows the way, the planet has changed drastically since he was last here. Later, the pair rests by a campfire under the night sky. The travel is clearly wearing on them, and Salaka voices his exhaustion, hoping they are nearing their destination. They continue their trek, crossing through a swampy, overgrown area. The atmosphere is thick with ancient, twisted roots as they press forward. Their progress is interrupted when they stumble upon a new situation in the brush, with a voice calling out for assistance. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka encounter a woman trapped in a brutal, iron-toothed snare. She begs for help, fearing who might have set the trap, but Battle Beast doesn't even break his stride, bluntly dismissing her plea with a cold refusal to offer aid. Salaka is clearly frustrated by the lack of empathy, calling out Battle Beast for his callousness. He reminds the warrior that they aren't in such a desperate rush that they can't spare a moment for someone in need. Battle Beast offers no further debate, simply letting out a low, impatient growl. Battle Beast finally relents and pries open the iron trap, freeing the woman. She's quick to gush with gratitude, but he remains as cold as ever, bluntly telling her he has no interest in her thanks. She doesn't take the hint, leaning in to offer a kiss instead. Battle Beast, clearly uncomfortable, pulls away with a sharp nonsense. Before he can finish his protest, he's blindsided. The woman's demeanor shifts instantly, and the physical toll of her trap takes hold. With a heavy WHUDD, Battle Beast is struck down, crashing to the ground as the woman reveals her true, predatory nature. Prince Salaka watches in horror, letting out a panicked uh-oh as he realizes they've been completely played. The woman looms over the fallen warrior, her face contorted in a wicked grin. She taunts him, promising he'll be unconscious soon and mocking him for ignoring his companion's earlier warnings. Battle Beast lies incapacitated, trapped and staring up from the floor, his vision still swimming from the ambush. The predator leans into view, her grin wide and mocking as she observes her prize. She lets out a cold, sharp greeting. She revels in her victory, pacing through her cluttered, gruesome workshop. She taunts Battle Beast and the struggling Prince Salaka, boasting about how easily they fell for her disguise and declaring that they are now entirely at her mercy. Prince Salaka, still pinned to the floor, tries to reason with his captor, asking what she intends to do. She doesn't mince words, snarling back that she intends to eat him. She looms over her captives, detailing her culinary plan. She dismisses Salaka as a metallic, poorly seasoned appetizer, while eyeing Battle Beast's muscular frame as a much more satisfying main course she intends to salt and dry. Battle Beast, completely unbothered by his predicament, calmly warns his captor that she's making a fatal mistake. She finds his confidence darkly amusing, delighting in the irony of the predator becoming the prey. Battle Beast isn't about to let his story end in a cooking pot, bluntly telling his captor that she's made a grave miscalculation. She ignores the defiance, intent on getting to work, complaining that her hunger won't tolerate any further delays. Prince Salaka, dangling helplessly from her grasp, desperately tries to bargain for his life by revealing his true identity as the Crown Prince of Fantania. The captor scoffs at his pathetic state, demanding he speak quickly before she turns him into a dumpling. Salaka manages to blurt out a frantic explanation, claiming that Battle Beast is here to overthrow the Juggernaut, just as he once defeated the Colossus. Salaka swears his life on the truth of his words, pleading with the creature to recognize that his potential restoration to the throne is no lie. Prince Salaka continues his frantic plea, pointing out that the Temple of Aglor has been a ruin for over 1,000 years. He explains that his current, fragile state is a direct result of being trapped inside the Colossus's belly all that time. The captor pauses, admitting there might be some truth to his story, but she's not interested in history lessons. Her hunger completely overrides any curiosity. She heartlessly tosses Salaka toward the cooking pot, laughing as he begs for his life. Completely unfazed by his terror, she begins seasoning the broth with bizarre ingredients like eye of gromp and luzza flakes, humming to herself as she works. Just as she's about to finish her recipe, A sudden, heavy impact hits her from behind, leaving her completely stunned. The captor, still mid-sentence, freezes as she realizes who has just crashed through her door, calling out to her creature, Fido. Battle Beast drops the blade he pulled from the Colossus, and it hits the floor with a loud clang, finally catching the captor's full attention. Prince Salaka, still covered in cooking ingredients, desperately tries to use the weapon's origin to prove his claims about Battle Beast's power. Battle Beast stares down the captor with his usual intensity, his presence confirming the horrific reality of his combat history. Battle Beast's arrival shifts the mood instantly. The captor is more obsessed with his culinary history than the danger he poses, eagerly asking how the Colossus tasted. Battle Beast, ever the professional, dismisses her, reiterating that she remains his enemy. The captor's demeanor shifts from manic curiosity to defensive resentment. She laments her current state, insisting that hunting travelers wasn't her childhood dream, but a tragic fate forced upon her by the ruling brother and sister who displaced her as the realm's great wizard. Prince Salaka, still covered in cooking mess, finally gets a good look at his captor and realizes exactly who she is. Recognition hits the captor too. She identifies the prince, though she can't resist taking a jab at his missing posterior. She reflects on his former appearance with a lingering, slightly bizarre focus on his anatomy. With the initial shock of recognition out of the way, Wagala shifts gears. She begins channeling her magic, promising to restore Prince Salaka to his former royal physique. Salaka is understandably wary, especially given he's still covered in the cooking mess from Wagala's earlier attempt to prep him for dinner. She reassures him that their history as friends overrides her hunger, and that she's going to restore him to his original form. As the magical energy washes over him, Salaka feels the immediate effects of the spell taking hold. He sits in the dark, the magic clearly working as his form begins to shift. He remains in the process of transformation, the magical glow fading as the spell continues its work. Wagala notes that the heavy lifting is finished, but the process isn't quite complete yet. Wagala turns her attention to Battle Beast, realizing that winning over a warrior of his stature requires more than just conversation. She sets her sights on the Colossus's tusk, seeing the potential for a gift that might actually earn his respect. Battle Beast simply stares back, his silence speaking volumes. Wagala explains the tactical advantage of using the tusk. Because these creatures are notoriously difficult to kill due to their regenerative abilities, she plans to forge the material into a weapon specifically designed to end them for good. She begins the intense process, thrusting the tusk into the magical fire of her forge. Wagala channels her arcane energy, the air crackling as she begins to reshape the raw material. With hammer and magic, she starts to break down and mold the massive, durable tusk. She works with relentless precision, pounding the material into a more lethal form. The transformation is nearly complete, as the once simple tusk takes on a sharp, dangerous edge, infused with crackling magical power. Wagala presents her creation, a crackling, golden-hued weapon she calls Drascula, the Forever Blade. She commands Battle Beast to rise and claim his new tool for the coming conflict. Battle Beast looms in the shadows, silhouetted against the glowing energy of the blade as he considers the weapon. He reaches out, his armored hand firmly gripping the hilt. The sheer power of the blade radiates outward. Wagala watches with a sharp, toothy grin, clearly pleased with the result of her handiwork. Battle Beast tests the weight and balance of the weapon. For a warrior who lives for the fight, this gift earns a rare moment of approval. Battle Beast and the wizard Wagala share a bizarre moment of camaraderie. Battle Beast casually mentions that the Colossus's meat was salty, promising to save a piece for Wagala if he manages to kill the Juggernaut. She responds with a polite, if slightly unsettling, wish for his victory. Battle Beast clarifies his true motivation. He isn't looking for a simple win. He craves a worthy death in glorious battle to finally silence the relentless rage burning within him. Wagala is left momentarily speechless, processing the sheer intensity of his desire for his own end. Prince Salaka, now restored to his physical form, flexes his muscles. He expresses deep discomfort with having been powerless while trapped in his suit, relishing the sensation of his own strength returning as they ride off into the sunset. As the pair travels across the desolate landscape, Salaka surveys the horizon. He is struck by the ruin of his home world, lamenting the absence of the cities and sky roads he once knew, and wondering what tragedy befell his people. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka emerge from the tree line to gaze upon the ruins of the Fantanian Grand Palace. The sight of his once proud home, now decaying and overgrown, leaves Salaka shaken as he whispers, "My word, the Grand Palace, what remains of it?" Inside the ruined, skull-strewn halls of the Fantanian Palace, the atmosphere is suffocatingly grim. The Juggernaut's vizier stands amidst the gore, delivering a report to his master. He nervously confirms, "I do fear that is the last of them, my liege." The Juggernaut, unimpressed, simply asks, "Last?" The vizier explains that all insurgents have been defeated and the conflict is officially over. He expects praise for finally securing the Juggernaut's uncontested rule. Instead, the Juggernaut reveals his true, monstrous nature. Having run out of enemies to fight, he has developed a taste for his own people, callously stating that his subjects will now have to volunteer as tribute to his glory. As the realization hits the vizier, the Juggernaut coldly declares, "Starting with you." The vizier can only stammer in terror as his master prepares to make him the next meal. The Juggernaut makes good on his threat, and the palace hall erupts in a spray of blood. The vizier's final moments are cut short by a brutal, visceral sound effect. With his vizier now discarded, the Juggernaut remains hunched over amidst the piles of bones, completely unfazed by the slaughter he's just committed. And that unfortunately concludes our comic cap for today. With the Juggernaut now turning his hunger toward his own people, do you think Battle Beast will see him as a worthy opponent or just another monster to be put down? Let me know your answer in the comments section down below. Be sure to subscribe and press that notification bell for daily comic caps. Until next time, take care, brush your hair, I'll see you when I see you, peace. Welcome back to Comic Cappers. Today we will be capping Battle Beast has finally arrived at the gates of his own home world, and he's ready to turn the Juggernaut's slaughterhouse into his own final resting place. With that said, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We open on a visceral display of violence as a massive, clawed hand tears through a victim, painting the scene in blood. The carnage spreads across the floor of the palace, leaving a trail of bones and gore that hints at the scale of the massacre. The narrative shifts back in time. The caption reads simply, "Before." We see the aftermath of an attack on the palace, with a fallen inhabitant lying broken amidst the wreckage. An armored foot descends, crushing what remains of the victim into the blood-soaked floor, marking the arrival of the tyrant. Back in the past, the Juggernaut and Colossus revel in the absolute slaughter of Fantania's people. They treat the destruction of the kingdom like a casual sightseeing trip, clearly delighted by the carnage they're inflicting on the city's inhabitants. The city of Fantania burns in the background, a stark contrast to the opulence inside the palace walls. On a balcony, a young woman looks out at the carnage, terrified. She asks, "Those two brutes are ravaging the streets of our fair city. Are you not concerned, my prince?" Prince Saga lounges nearby, completely indifferent to the destruction. He dismisses her worry, saying, "I'm concerned about you not being here bouncing on my lap, baby. Get over here." The woman remains paralyzed by fear, murmuring, "I don't know, I'm scared." Saga pulls her close, radiating a delusional sense of security. He tells her, "Girl, you are with the Prince Saga. You've got nothing to fear. Except maybe having too good a time. This isn't our first attack. My dad's army will keep those monsters from ever breaching the castle, trust me." So much for Prince Salaka's grand promises of safety. The palace walls finally give way, and the invaders, Juggernaut and Colossus, crush their way into the heart of the kingdom. The royal guards are clearly outmatched, their wide eyes and panicked expressions saying everything that their desperate cry of "they've breached the castle" implies. Back in the thick of the invasion, the royal guards are completely outmatched. As they fire back in desperation, the Juggernaut just laughs at their futile efforts, mocking them for their lack of power. He doesn't just fight, he feeds. With a sickening crunch, he makes it clear that this isn't a battle to him, it's a meal. Prince Saga and his companion flee up the palace stairs, terrified as the monster hunts them down. The prince, true to form, is already looking for an exit, abandoning his people to save himself. Salaka's companion doesn't make it. The Juggernaut catches up, and in one brutal motion, the horror of the takeover is fully realized. As the palace burns under a dark alien sun, the full scale of the invasion becomes clear. The Grand Palace is already crumbling, marking the end of an era for Fantania. Inside the command center, a desperate officer pleads with Prince Saga. He urges the prince to step up, rally the remaining armies, and provide the hope the people need to survive the onslaught. Salaka's response is pathetic. With tears in his eyes, he admits his defeat before the battle is even over, claiming the invaders are simply too powerful to resist. The officer has heard enough. In a fit of pure rage, he slams his fist onto the table, branding the prince a disgrace for abandoning his kingdom when it matters most. The assault on the Grand Palace continues, with another massive explosion lighting up the night sky over Fantania. Inside the crumbling structure, a few survivors are clearly terrified, but Prince Saga, ever the narcissist, tells them not to worry, insisting they just need to trust in him. Saga dismisses the destruction as a temporary nuisance, confidently predicting that the invaders will simply get bored and leave once they're finished smashing things up. The survivors, blinded by his royal status, fawn over his supposed wisdom and looks. Salaka laps up the praise, confirming their adoration with a smug, sharp-toothed grin. The flashback to the fall of Fantania turns violent. A structural support crumbles, crushing the panicked survivors hiding within the palace walls. The juggernaut looms over a terrified Prince Salaka. He cruelly mocks the prince, revealing that his own army abandoned him and that he's been consuming the royal family for months. With a final, predatory sneer, the juggernaut lunges at the prince, savoring the prospect of finishing off the last of the royal line. The horror continues as the juggernaut's feast turns literal, tearing through the royal family with terrifying ease. Amidst the carnage, the destruction claims another victim, leaving behind only chaos and blood. A young Salaka witnesses the slaughter, calling out in disbelief as his parents are cornered. In their final moments, the dying monarchs attempt to pass their royal essence to their son, burdening him with a legacy of vengeance and an unnaturally extended life. Salaka recoils, overwhelmed by the sudden infusion of energy and the weight of their dying command. He rejects the mantle, insisting that he is not worthy of the life or the duty his parents tried to force upon him. Prince Salaka reflects on his past, admitting that he held power but failed to use it when his people needed him most. It's a rare moment of vulnerability for the former royal, as he vows not to repeat that failure. Salaka, now mounted on a creature, gestures toward the ruined palace while Battle Beast waits nearby with his sword drawn. Salaka tries to get the last word in, but the weight of his previous confession hangs in the air. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka crest a ridge, silhouetted against a dying orange sky, overlooking the desolate remains of Fantania. Salaka, now in his mechanical body, pauses to gaze out over the sprawling, ruined landscape. Salaka is clearly shaken by the sight of his fallen kingdom, whispering, "My God, it's all gone." Battle Beast has no patience for the sentimentality. He snaps at Salaka, warning that he won't tolerate any more delays, especially after the trip has already cost them a ship. Salaka pushes back, calling Battle Beast cruel and questioning how he became such a monster, reminding him that he was once known as a force for good on his home world, Dorne. Battle Beast turns his full, terrifying attention on Salaka. He explains that his life is an endless, agonizing struggle against his own bloodlust, and that every moment he spends not tearing Salaka apart is a conscious choice to avoid pointless destruction. Battle Beast looms over the ruins, his face a mask of primal intensity as he explains that his only desire for death is a desperate safeguard against his own uncontrollable bloodlust. He dismisses Salaka's feelings entirely, claiming his internal agony leaves no room for empathy. Salaka isn't buying it. He points out that he's seen Battle Beast sleep on the ship, arguing that if he can manage that level of peace, he can certainly manage to not be a total jerk while they're awake. Battle Beast goes silent, the weight of the observation clearly hitting home. Suddenly, the tension breaks. Battle Beast erupts into genuine, booming laughter, finally finding a shred of humor in his companion's bluntness. Battle Beast and Prince Salaka stand before the imposing, overgrown silhouette of the Grand Palace, the ruins looming against a sickly yellow sky. Salaka struggles within his mechanical body, clearly suffering from some kind of physical malfunction or growth. Battle Beast, clearly unimpressed by his companion's constant complaining, questions if this is another one of his usual outbursts. Salaka insists it is different this time, explaining that his mechanical body is actively growing and making him feel cramped. Battle Beast shuts him down immediately, telling him to deal with his discomfort in silence. Salaka surveys the crumbling entrance, lamenting the lost grandeur of his former home before turning his frustration toward their mission, impatient to get inside and face the juggernaut. Battle Beast stands before the decaying, vine-choked remains of the Grand Palace, his sword drawn and ready. He is done with the delays and commands Salaka to move forward. As they step into the ruins, Salaka questions if the prince still remembers his way around his old home. Salaka confirms he does, though he notes that his mechanical body lacks the ship's sensors to check the structural integrity of the crumbling castle. He dryly adds that, given Battle Beast's durability, a collapse probably wouldn't even kill him. Salaka nervously leads the way through the decaying palace, trying to mask his fear with a forced sense of excitement as he directs Battle Beast toward the throne room. Battle Beast stops, clearly unimpressed by the state of the ruins. His patience for navigating the wreckage is gone. He raises his sword, demanding the juggernaut reveal herself so he can finally claim the battle he traveled across the universe to find. Before they can push further, a mysterious voice calls out to them from the shadows, stopping the pair in their tracks. A strange, elderly local intercepts them, immediately pegging Battle Beast as a hunter. He rattles off a monologue about how obvious it is that Thokk is here to kill the juggernaut, practically begging for the tyrant's end. Battle Beast, clearly annoyed by the chatter, finally gets a word in, dryly asking if the stranger is ever going to let him speak. The local ignores the jab, insisting he already knows exactly what they're after and asks if they intend to stop him. Far from stopping them, the local is thrilled. He directs them toward the dungeon stairs and practically cheers for the Juggernaut's demise. Salaka tries to pull rank, identifying himself as the former prince of this castle. Battle Beast isn't impressed, brushing him off with a crude insult about how being a former anything isn't worth a cup of cheap sluck. Battle Beast clearly has zero patience for the locals, casually remarking that he'd be happy to kill the guy who just pointed them toward the dungeon on his way out. Salaka, ever the voice of moderation, tries to dial back the lethality. Suddenly, the ship AI takes drastic measures. It forcibly hijacks Salaka's mechanical body, causing him to collapse and scramble on the floor. The AI coldly explains it's bypassing Salaka's brain to gain full motor control, bluntly telling the prince he doesn't need his own body anymore. Battle Beast doesn't stick around for the tech horror show. He simply turns his back on his companion, telling Salaka to deal with his own mess because he's tired of waiting. As Battle Beast marches toward the dungeon, the now possessed Salaka scrambles to keep up, desperate to see the Juggernaut for himself. Battle Beast smashes his way into the dungeon, his arrival marked by a massive, violent impact that sends someone or something crashing to the floor. The Juggernaut looms above, greeting the intruder with a predatory, wide-eyed grin, clearly relishing the prospect of a new meal. Battle Beast stands amidst the carnage, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated rage as he calls out his fallen comrade. The Juggernaut's eyes widen in recognition as he looks down at the carnage, his tone shifting from hunger to a chilling, sudden realization. He stares intensely, his focus locked onto the remnants of the fallen, his pupils dilating as he processes what he's seeing. With a jagged, glowing shard held aloft, the Juggernaut makes the connection, identifying the remains as his own kin. Standing before the Juggernaut, Battle Beast displays his weapon, a sword crafted from the tusk of the Colossus. The Juggernaut is shocked that anyone could have freed such a creature from the cosmic nail, but Battle Beast dismisses the feat, noting the Colossus lacked the strength he was promised and was easily defeated. The Juggernaut's disbelief is absolute. He claims that he alone is capable of felling the Colossus. Battle Beast isn't impressed by the tyrant's ego. He mocks the idea that the Colossus was any kind of challenge, telling the Juggernaut he hopes for a better fight from him, before adding a dry, lethal jab that he intends to eat the tyrant's insides by sunset. The Juggernaut lunges, his massive claw swiping at Battle Beast. He sneers at the warrior, dismissing his display as pathetic. The Juggernaut lands a brutal strike, driving his blade straight into Battle Beast's chest. He taunts the warrior as blood sprays across the dungeon floor, clearly enjoying the initial impact. Battle Beast isn't even fazed. Despite the massive wound and the blood dripping from his maw, he looks back at the Juggernaut with a cold, terrifying calm, dismissing the attack as nothing more than a warm-up. And that unfortunately concludes our comic cap for today. With Battle Beast completely unfazed by a blade to the chest, do you think the Juggernaut has any idea what kind of monster he's actually dealing with, or is this just the start of a very short life for him? Let me know your answer in the comments section down below. Be sure to subscribe and press that notification bell for daily comic caps. Until next time, take care, brush your hair, I'll see you when I see you, peace.